Hello, it is so nice to see you here, friend. If you've been following along, you already know that this is part 3 of the Deep Work series I'm creating. If you're new here, welcome, and let me catch you up to speed. This series aims to follow along with Cal Newport's Deep Life Framework, which is a multi-step plan designed to provide individuals with tools and resources that will help them significantly transform their lives in as little as 4 months. In this video, we'll be exploring the control section, which is all about organization and learning how to effectively assign time to all of the various activities and practices that we've identified as essential in the first 2 sections. There are 3 main objectives of the control section. The first being multi-scale planning, which is just a fancy way of saying that you're creating calendars or schedules on a quarterly, weekly, and daily basis. If you want to make this as easy on yourself as possible, you're going to need a few supplies, which I'll talk about in a bit more detail later in this video. The second objective is to create a capture system where we can dump all of our lower priority tasks like household chores into. The idea behind having a capture system is that it puts all of your more menial tasks out in the open and makes it easier to fit them into your schedule once all of the high priority tasks have been assigned a time. Lastly, we want to try to automate and curtail during this phase. And that essentially means that you are taking a hard look at your schedule, identifying things that are a major time suck, and figuring out how to either automate that task or eliminate it completely. So I just got out of a very nice bath, made myself a little cup of hot chocolate, and I thought that now would be a good time to go over the supplies that might come in handy if someone wanted to follow along with this framework. The first thing that I would recommend somebody get is a big calendar pad. This is something that is particularly helpful when it comes to the multi-scale planning piece of it, because you'll have something that will allow you to do weekly and quarterly planning. I like to keep mine on my desk because that way I'm looking at it all the time, so it's not ever a surprise when I have something that I need to go do. I know because it's fresh in my memory from having it out in the open like that. The second thing that I would recommend someone use is either Google Calendar or Notion if you're good at that. I think Notion has a little bit more of a learning curve, but it's super handy when you actually know how to use it. Google Calendar is obviously a lot more user-friendly, but that is another tool that will allow you to more effortlessly remember the things that you have going on. I really like Google Calendar because of the notification aspect of it. Maybe you do happen to forget about something and you can set reminders, and it just makes it a lot easier to feel on top of things because you're getting those notifications regularly. If there's only one thing that you get from this list, please let it be a daily time blocking planner. This is a very essential piece to Cal Newport's framework. He talks about time blocking a lot, and it's actually proven to be incredibly useful so far. It's so helpful. I don't know why it works so well, but it does. I feel very on top of my shit when I have it all listed out in that way. And when you have it in little chunks, like if you know that something's going to take you 30 minutes or you know that something's going to take an hour, it's a lot easier to kind of piecemeal your day and like move shit around as needed, if needed. And yeah, it's just an amazing tool. So go get a time block planner. Sort of in that same field, have a daily habit tracker out in the open, something that you can mark off every single day. I like to keep mine in my bathroom because I guess I spend a lot of time in my bathroom, but it's on a wall that I look at a lot, and so it's easier for me to remember that I need to take my vitamins or that I haven't done, a piece of my self-care yet this week. I really am more of a tactical person, or tactile, I guess. So I really like to have things physically there with me that I can write on and mark off. But some people might be a lot more into the digital aspect of it. There's apps that allow you to track your daily habits. There's apps that help schedule your whole day. So if that works for you, then that's totally fine. I'm just somebody that needs something to write on. I don't know why, but it just helps me internalize it a lot more. And lastly, I know that people are probably going to roll their eyes and say this has been talked about to death, but get yourself a copy of Atomic Habits. This book is life-changing. That's why people won't shut up about it. But the idea of habit stacking is so powerful because it just allows you to build onto the good habits that you've already cultivated, and it just makes it a lot easier to integrate new habits into your routine. It makes it a lot easier to remember because you're already doing something that you would normally do, and you're just like, oh yeah, I can add this on. It's amazing. I have Atomic Habits on Audible, and I love listening to it in the car. I've listened to that whole book probably like 3 times already. I just think that there's so much good information there, and I don't really like to use the term biohacking, but that's what it feels like. It feels like you've just learned how to hotwire your brain to do things that otherwise might feel very difficult. So if you don't have it already, I would recommend getting yourself a copy of Atomic Habits, reading through it, and just really trying to use those ideas in your day-to-day because they're so good. But yeah, that is all I can think of for now. If something else comes up, I will let y'all know, but that's really mainly what I've been using to help me through this whole process. I feel like these tools are very useful when it comes to remembering, because that's the hardest part, isn't it? Just remembering what it is that we're supposed to be doing. Well, on that note, I am going to call it a night, and I guess I'll see y'all next time I check in. What is up, y'all? Welcome to the raw, unfiltered behind the scenes of my life. I am recording this video from bed. As you can see, I have my neck warmer on. Both Daisy and I are in a bad way right now. That is how I would describe it. Daisy is just sleeping next to me here. We've just been snoozing this morning. I got a massage yesterday, which is like, oh yeah, poor you, but I'm so sore today. I just don't even want to do anything. There's a lot of stuff that I'm like meant to do today, and we'll see if that happens. I don't know, it's only like, it's probably not even 8 a.m. yet. But I did just want to check in and talk a little bit about how this phase has been going. I would say that it's been my favorite so far.
I think that this is really the segment of the whole 4 month process where things like actually start to come together, and all of the, I guess, preparation that you did, and I can't even remember the first section, but the first and second section, um, all of that prep work, I feel like you can just dump it into the control element of this section, and things have just been flowing really well. Also, excuse my voice. I also have been dealing with a sore throat, so I'm just going through a lot right now. um, but it's fine. Um, it's been great though. I'll show y'all like kind of what I've been working off of in terms of like time blocking and stuff, but I just feel so organized, and it's really helpful to have everything written down and have things that you know have to happen at a certain time, and then you can just like dump in all of the other like miscellaneous tasks of the day into like the free time that you have. um and I just feel like I've really been like staying on track with the things that I want to do, and it feels good. I feel very productive, but not in a way that's like making me want to rip my hair out. Like, it's so easy for me, being like the type of personality that I am, where I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna do that and like blah blah blah. And it's almost like I can go on autopilot. Like, I don't have to think about my next step, or like what task do I have to do now, like, or next or whatever. Like, I think it's easier to already have had an established time to like do something, instead of trying to figure out what you're gonna do in that hour of time that you might have, if that makes sense. But that's my little update for now. Um, I meant to like record more today, but we'll see if that happens, just because I do recognize the importance of rest, and I think that both me and Daisy are very much in need of some rest and relaxation. So we'll see if I check in with you later, but if not, I will probably catch you on a different day.
Alright, y'all, at the time of recording this, it is December 14th, which means that we have successfully reached the end of this 4-week phase. I'm only a few days behind schedule this time rather than a whole ass 3 weeks, so I think we're crushing it. To close out this video, I wanted to sit down and talk about some of the things that I've learned from this segment and offer a few tips to anyone that might be interested in trying this themselves. And as I'm going to be wrapping up this video, I'm also going to be wrapping up some Christmas presents because it's gotta get done. The pun was not intended, but we're just gonna roll with it. So, something kind of funny that I learned.
Funny, yes, but not funny, haha. Funny, weird.
If you have any unaddressed issues, doing something like this is probably going to be a little difficult. Work with me here. How do you make these so cute, bruh? This is awful. Oh my lord. You know what? We're not gonna do this one right now. If you have any unaddressed issues doing something like this is going to be a little difficult. As an example, I am a major people pleaser. I think I may have briefly touched on this in another video, but it is extremely difficult for me to prioritize myself. More specifically, I am very much a relationship person, so a lot of my energy just goes towards my relationship. I'm not saying that it's bad for me to care about my relationship, but it definitely makes it difficult to detach myself from relationship duties and focus my attention towards my own personal tasks. During this whole thing, it's become really obvious that I need to address the why behind my people pleasing and learn how to just allow myself more freedom to just exist and do things for my own well-being. And there are honestly a lot of things that could get in the way of making meaningful change in your life. Whatever it is, my advice to anyone wanting to try this little experiment is to take a full inventory of your life before you even start. And just take the time to figure out if there's anything that needs to be addressed. Not only will that give you a really solid starting point, but it will make the whole process a lot easier because you won't be continuously running into roadblocks along the way. This next tip might sound a little ridiculous, but you have to build time into your schedule to relax. During this whole control segment, I quickly realized that I was just a little bit too eager to fill up my whole schedule with tasks and chores. But as you can imagine, that left very little time to relax. So even if it's just a few little 15-minute blocks throughout your day or an hour before bed, set time aside where you can do whatever you want, even if it's just nothing. If you don't have breaks throughout your day, you run the risk of burning yourself out, and that's kind of the opposite of what we're trying to achieve here. Kind of in that same vein, don't try to work against yourself. Take notes, learn how you actually function best. When do you feel the most energetic? What is a natural chain of events for you? When is it okay to multitask? Once you have an understanding of how your thought process actually works, it'll be a lot easier to create a schedule that feels more natural and ultimately will make you a lot more efficient. Also, remember to have fun. Create a reward system for yourself. This is going to look different for everyone, but something that I like to do is to save YouTube videos that I really want to watch for my cardio time. I feel a lot more excited about having to do cardio in the morning when I know I get to watch something that I've really been looking forward to. Obviously, real noticeable change takes time, so it's nice to have those little things to make it more gratifying along the way. My last tip is probably going to sound a little cliche, but you need to remember your why. What is it that you're actually working towards? What is it that motivates you? And you might have a multitude of goals. One of my fitness goals is that I want to look really hot for EDC this year. So when I'm working out, I listen to electronic music because it gets me motivated and reminds me why I'm even working out in the first place. I feel like I'm only focusing on the fitness goals here, but that's a piece that I honestly struggle with the most. So if you have something that you really care about, but it's hard to stay consistent, just have the why in your mind, or even better, have something physical that reminds you of that why and have it somewhere where you can look at it every day. Well, we have reached the end of our present wrapping, which means that we have reached the end of this video. I know that I covered a lot of stuff, but I hope that it was helpful, and I'd be super curious to know if anybody has tried to follow along with the Cal Newport framework, Or if anyone's just working towards a New Year's resolution, since it is that time already. Can you freaking believe it? Anyways, if you have made it this far, thank you so much. I will see you all in the next and final video of this series in about a month. Take care, y'all.